So, dollars and cents, financial strategies for divorce. Listen, I know you might not be getting the divorce, fine, but as business owners, referral partners, this is things that we need to know. So, have you created a personal and business financial strategy for your divorce settlement? Okay. If not, what's next? What should you be thinking about? Today on 10 at 10, we're going to have a fireside discussion with Karen Sparks. So we're going to break it down. So let's go. Let's go get it. Good morning, everyone. So, Paula Madison Sierra here, host of 10 at 10 and founder of Power Marketing SF. Today on the show, we have something that's a little outside the box, but not, because we're all about up leveling business owners. We have Karen Sparks, principal and owner of Divorce Financial Strategist. Karen is a certified divorce financial analyst. Yeah, trial expert witness and author. And today we're going to have her on the show. Good morning, Miss Karen.
Good morning, Miss Paula. Thank you so much for having me on. Really excited to be able to share some good info with people today about a topic that doesn't get discussed a whole lot.
I'm just excited at sharing, folks. So listen, if you're popping up on YouTube, because we're going to be sharing it on YouTube as well as LinkedIn, and you see this, it's exciting to share Karen as well, because how many of you have even heard of this profession of being a certified financial divorce analyst? Like, no, until I met you, I didn't know about your profession. So thanks for being on the show for so many reasons today. Um, Karen,
Mhm,
I've been asking this question lately. What
mhm.
is your origin story, my dear?
My origin story is in two parts, personal and business. So I went through a divorce myself many, many years ago when my daughter was young. She's now 25. So that's my personal story of having walked through that.
Mm,
And I was very fortunate education wise to be able to do that because I also have a law degree as well. So I brought that knowledge into, a very stressful situation. And then secondarily, my career in the legal and financial fields put me in touch with a lot of folk. And some of those folk were getting divorced, and some of those folk
mm,
were not happy about what happened at the end of the day. And so, with the financial knowledge that I had as a working CFO and my legal background, I wanted to create a better space for these financial conversations to happen when families are transitioning their marital relationship and finding that it's going to end. So that's my story.
I love that, because when I was going through a divorce, I didn't know about it. I just happened to tap into my financial advisor, and we sat down and had some great conversations about what the settlement should look like. But that literally was even at the end. I'm like, wait a second, how have I not spoken to him yet? Let me go ask some questions and let's go over it. And he gave me the time. But to hear that there's actually someone who would have gone over the numbers, I love that. So you're that retained expert in a divorce that many folks don't even know that they should be interacting with.
It's so funny because emotions overlay this whole
Mm,
issue of a relationship unraveling. And so, what I often say to people is that this is different math, right? Divorce is different math. It seems as though it's intuitive. It seems as though it's the basic arithmetic that we all start school getting those concepts in place. But there is so much to this subject, and so much that you don't even know that you need to know. And
mm,
so, having a professional like myself who is trained in how to manipulate divorce finances, allocate them, look at the tax effects, and create
mm.
those projections going out is really key to the success of the next iteration of life post divorce. It's just so key.
I love that. All right. So, can you offer five financial mistakes to avoid in your divorce settlement?
Yes, let's start with actually understanding what your priorities are.
Mm,
A lot of people have a knee jerk reaction to however this is getting started. And my father used to have a saying, how you start something is pretty much how you finish it.
Mm,
So if you
yes.
don't start something well, the end result is probably going to reflect that. So first of all, whether you're the one giving the notification or the one receiving the notification, the first thing you need to do is consider, what are your priorities coming through this process? What is important? What do we need to focus on? The next thing that I would say is make sure that you have your documents in place. A professional like myself is document based, but there'll be others in this conversation, your counsel, other people. It is really key that you start to pull these things together. And more often than not, we have a lot of situations. Sometimes one person's control that information. You don't have access to it. You don't even know how to get access to it. So if you're knowing that there are signs breaking down, make sure that you begin to start gathering some of those key documents and downloading some of that stuff so that you know.
Oh, wow.
The other, it's just key. You don't really think about it, right?
Oh,
But at the time that you see someone like me, maybe you're saying your lawyer as well or your mediator, everyone's asking you the same questions. Where are the documents? Where are the statements? Where is this?
yeah.
And so pay attention to your life.
Yeah.
If
I
you're
mean,
starting to,
can
you
I
know,
say that one of the things that my ears are picking up, even for those folks who are in great marriages, this is like a big indicator right now. All the documents should be in a one centralized place for both of you. And with
it's
all the
just
wonderful technology, it should be easy enough because forget a divorce. What about death? What about sudden death? What about things happening? Things happen lately, right?
any type of life transition is going, it's just good life policy to have all documents somewhere where everyone knows where they are and everyone has access to them. It's just smart.
Yeah,
In divorce, it's key, just as it is in the loss of a loved one or whatnot. But it's just smart business.
exactly.
The other thing to consider when a transition is on deck is, how are you financed to handle that transition? A lot of people don't really think about that. There is a thing called a divorce budget. And you need to really start to think about, all right, how am I going to spend my money?
Ah,
Who do I need to be, intersecting with? What does that look like? Okay. Instead of getting a third of the way through the process, realizing that you need XYZ professional, you don't have the money for XYZ professional. So now there's a hole in your scenario and in your knowledge because you cannot afford to hire the person to help you get through it. So really think long and hard about what you need and how you're going to get there.
mm,
The next thing is, think about who needs to be on your team.
mm.
Who do you actually really need to bring you through this divorce? And if I may, Paula, I'll just take a few seconds to sort of run down the general
Please do.
scenarios that
Yes, please.
happen. Okay. So, first of all, there's a DIY method, nothing wrong with it, but that is really related to what we call divorces where there's really not a lot on the table. So, courthouses around the nation do have self help clinics to get you through that and to help you with the form. So, let's move on to where most people are living.
Mm,
The next thing is maybe mediation. Maybe
oh,
you decided, okay, we're going to try to do this. That is a process that involves a neutral attorney. It usually at some point will involve me because the money will be on the table, or someone like me, the
mhm,
money will be on the table. And that's a facilitated process. Then there's the collaborative process. And I am a financial neutral with a local collaborative group here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And that's a team approach. We bring together the attorneys, we bring together the child specialists, we bring together the mental health people, and that team is curated for the family to help walk them through this process outside of the court system.
I love that.
Finally, there's litigation for those who can't play well together. They end up there. And so, my work as a professional, Paula, as you indicated at the onset, is to work through testimony, and I'm involved in a trial in May for marital standard of living and all nature of financial conflict that happens at the litigation level. So, those are the ways that you can journey through that.
Well, let me ask you, is a collaborative structure, is that primarily when there are children involved then?
Not necessarily. I've been involved in collaborative cases with and without children.
Okay.
And I would say for mediation and collaborative, one of the key things you want to look at is intentionality with you and your partner. Those are very intentional spaces to go through divorce. And so if there's a power imbalance, if there's any other negativity or negative data points going on in that relationship, that may not be the process for you. So you really need to kind of think about what is the correct process,
Okay.
before you go forward. And then once you get in the process, remember that professionals like myself work for you. You drive this. So you should be making those demands. You should be asking those questions. You should be knowing at each step of the process what's going on. And when families are working with me, I'm making sure that we're doing that. We don't leave something until everybody understands it and understands where we're going with it. And so just
Absolutely.
remember that you're not on the receiving end of it. You don't have to feel like you have no place in it. You are the place. When you're
Exactly.
going through this transition, you are the place.
Exactly. I mean, it's such an emotional process as well. So, sometimes the heads aren't as level as they should be, you know?
They're not. And sometimes you bring a lot of that to the table. And
Mm,
that's why it's important to sit down and think about what's needed. You mentioned, Paula, collaborative in children.
yeah.
One of the things that I identify in my early exploratory appointment with someone who's speaking to me in the space is, first of all, are there children?
Mm,
Are there children?
yeah.
What type of support can you afford to put in place, not only for yourself, but also for them? Because they are going through this process right along with you and need to be able to have those resources. And that's why, Paul, I know you can understand this as well. It's so important to have that network to support your clients. And I have that network. So whatever we need to do, I'm able to identify some of those things and get my clients into those spaces to walk alongside my process with the right support.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I'm going to throw out a little phrase here and I want you to
Mhm.
comment on it.
Okay.
In a divorce situation, you need to realize that you are both on the same side and the IRS is on the other side. Talk to me on that.
All right. So everyone, this is this is a journey where a lot of big things you are tackling. And a lot of those big things come from your source of money. You are dealing with IRS, you are dealing with state taxing authorities. In some cases, you're dealing with local authorities if we have to transition real estate. You're dealing with all sorts of statutory prescriptions on securities if we're liquidating, those types of things. You're up against quite a bit. And I'm also going to mention something people don't think about. During the process of a divorce, your estate plan that you may have put together during marriage is going to no longer be valid. And so, one of the things that you want to focus on during the divorce process is getting that together as well and making sure that in this transition, if the pandemic's taught us nothing else, it's
Mhm.
taught us that we cannot predict. And so anything could happen during the course of the divorce. And you also want to make sure that your children are protected and your things are protected. And so one of the things that I make sure my clients pay attention to right at the gate is speaking to the estate planning professional, finding out what's needed, finding out what's in place, and getting that changed. So that's how I would talk about divorce versus the IRS. There's a lot of big mountains that you have to climb, and you really need to make sure that you're able to do it.
Yeah, I think people don't realize that is going to be a big portion for them. There's so much time spent on the emotional portion of it that they don't realize they need to pull it together and get themselves together on the same side as they're talking about the tax ramifications, as what they're going through. I love that you spoke about having a divorce budget. Make sure that you produce a budget and understand. Talk to me about the evils of overusing your divorce attorney. Because I mean, it's not a cheap thing. You're not just own it. You're doing an expensive thing here, you know?
You are, and I think there's a misconception that the family law counsel
Hmm.
is everything. They were never intended to be everything. They are there to guide your legal processes, your legal journey, your legal strategies. They're there to guide you and give you that. They're not actually your sounding board. They are not your therapist, right? They're not your medical provider. They're not your child support specialist, right? So, like I said, when you sit back and think about what needs to happen, these are some of the things. And
Mm,
one thing that you didn't mention that I focus very much on and am very, very committed to is women in divorce. And this is 2022, and I've been practicing for over 11 and a half years now. And I continue to be amazed at how we don't claim, and I'm going to use that word strategically, we don't claim a seat at the table during transitions such as divorce.
Yeah.
We don't have the knowledge. We think we should have the knowledge. We succumb to power imbalances from our professionals, from our partners. And I'm dedicated to making sure any clients working with me are understanding exactly what's going on. We leave no one behind. The train moves forward with everybody on it. And I'm just laser focused on us reclaiming that power and reclaiming that voice in the financial conversation. And I started the Financial Clarity Academy at the behest of former clients. So to address some of that thinking, that financial thinking that folk need to do post divorce. So it's something that I'm very passionate about.
I love that portion of it, but yeah, actually, I bumped into someone the other day that I hadn't seen for a while,
Uh-huh.
and first time we met, they were going through it. It's like a
Wow.
different person, you know. It's been COVID, so 2 years later, bumping into this person again, and
Hmm.
just hearing, like you said, just, making that decision to claim the power. Let me sit down. I don't have a partner, and maybe I never did in this process. Let me
Yeah.
learning some new things, and so that was a big part of the conversation, was around the financial portion of it, that we had a conversation about. Do folks actually use you directly, or is it always through a mediator or a divorce attorney? Um,
No, I will speak to that. Folk reach out to me on their own to get clarity on their finances. Either both individuals reach out to me, or one or the other reaches out to me for that. And oftentimes, mediators will bring me in because they've reached that speed bump.
mhm.
And a mediator cannot give you advice. They facilitate the conversation, but they cannot give you that advice. So I am usually brought in by mediators or brought in by other professionals when they see that their clients are struggling. My wealth management colleagues reach out to me as well, right?
Yeah.
Because they've been managing that portfolio, and that portfolio is no longer a unified portfolio. Now they don't know what to do, right? When they hear the question of them getting a divorce. So people come to me directly. They're coming to me through professionals, and I work in any and all of those iterations.
Okay. All right. So I know that you wrote a book, volume one,
Mhm.
came out pre-pandemic, The Stress-Free Divorce. Can you share a bit about some of the offerings in that book?
Yes, first of all, I was very pleased to be asked to author one of the chapters in that book. And I authored the chapter on spousal support considerations. And I thought it was an excellent book for anyone. And there's been several iterations coming out since that one, but the one I was in was the one that came out in 2017. And it's just an excellent resource from a variety of professionals in the space. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to see some case studies. It just gives you a sense of what you're about to walk into. So it's an excellent resource.
A really a nice way of preparing yourself for the process then.
Absolutely.
I love that. Any final advice for our listeners today, that you want to make sure that you really kind of hone in on for them?
Well, first of all, divorce is difficult. Divorce finances don't need to be. This is not a period in your life, it's a comma. And the success of that comma is going to have a lot to do with how much you respect and treasure yourself and
Mm,
those that are close to you, and leaning in to make the decisions that are in your best interest, preparing yourself for this next phase. That would be my final word on that.
I love that. Thank you so much for that. That's a big one. I think it's a good reminder that divorce is difficult for anyone, for everyone. I have to say, whenever anyone asks, my comment of it is, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy,
Amen.
because of the emotional component of it. Even if it seems that you're the one who's doing like better, it's
Right.
this feeling of failure, this big audacious thing that you did that is now breaking apart. It's not, and now the entire world knows that it's breaking apart.
And
So
I would
that,
say be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to grieve this process. Don't push that back underneath a blanket. Give yourself space and grace. No matter how it came to be, who was at fault, who wasn't at fault, give yourself grace and space to heal through this process and step to a better situation and be able to prosper.
absolutely, and don't use the process to punish the other person, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
That's energy that you could be putting into the next phase of your life. That's where that
Absolutely.
energy needs to go.
So, how can people get in touch with you, stay in touch with you, get more information from you?
Absolutely, absolutely. So first of all, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, active on there, and you can connect with me and have a sense of some of the other things that I'm doing. You can also feel free to reach out to me via email, and you can reach me at CDFA, so C Charles, D David, F Frank, A Apple, CDFA, at Divorce Financial Strategist, it's plural.com. You can also reach out to me by phone at area code 650-201-6311.
And I have that information. I will drop that into the link at the end of the show for everyone. Karen, thank you so much for being on today. I mean, like I said,
Thank
until
you.
I met you, I was like, there is such a thing. That's such
There
a
is a thing.
organization.
There
I
is a
love
thing. There is a thing. And Paula, very quickly, for those looking for CDFA professionals, they can go to the Institute of Divorce Financial Analysts website. You'll see myself and others there. We're strong across the nation. So wherever you live, you should be able to find a professional to help, but reach out to anyone on that website. You should be able
it.
to get some help.
In a weird way, it feels like you should be one of those first steps before even hitting the attorneys. You know,
I'm having people coming to me saying that.
yeah,
People are saying we need to kind of get the money story straight first, and then think about the rest of our team later in the last 3 to 4 years.
yeah,
That is what clients are telling me and reaching out and telling me. And it makes me happy to know that because it helps me to know that people are starting to realize what's important
absolutely.
and they're putting some energy into that. So sometimes I am that person that they're reaching out to first to try to get some grounding there.
No, absolutely. It seemed to make logical. Like I said, when we met, I was like, of course, this makes absolute sense. I just never knew a Karen before. You know,
That's
it's
right.
like, thank you. You
That's
know,
right. No, I'm happy to be here, Paula. Thank you so much for allowing me to have some time with you today. I really appreciate it.
I always love spending time with you, Karen. It's like whenever
I
I
know
like your schedule is so busy though. It's like whenever I can get in there, you know. I know
that's true.
I know
That's true.
the divorce industry is a booming right now. So you guys
Right.
are sadly very busy right now, you
We're
know.
very busy, and I wanted to kind of talk about an upcoming event that I have. For those of you listening, I will be speaking at the Financial Planners Association, the FPA NorCal conference. It's the 50th anniversary. That'll be happening in San Francisco on May 31st and June 1st. So, listen. Sign up for the conference. Going to be a lot of great speakers there along with me, and it should be a great time. So, would love to see any of you there who sign up and are able to attend.
Send me the link and I'll add that to this as
I
well.
will do
You know?
that. I
And
will do that.
again, please reach out to our guest today, Karen Sparks. Ask any questions. She's a wealth of knowledge. And of course, when you're ready for a marketing, please feel free to reach out to me as well. Because by the way, my continued mission statement, marketing and operations is a love story. So it is my mission to introduce you to, everyday experts and local business owners who will share their expertise with you to help you to up level and to do better, especially during this crazy time.
I
And
know.
of course, I also offer great marketing tips as well.
Yes, she does.
Thank you, my dear. It's 10 to 10. Here's
All
every
right.
Thursday, 10 a.m. Thank you, viewers. You continue to amaze me. And a closing quote this morning, because it's our conversation was all about preparation, and so I thought this one was really timely. The meaning of preparation with opportunity generates the offspring we call luck. Tony
Amen.
Robbins. So it's not luck is not as lucky as people think it is.
That's
So,
that's
Karen,
true.
thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Viewers,
Thank you.
have a great rest of the day. Take care and keep moving forward. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.